Holy crap, there's a new weapon added to Minecraft? Now that gets me thinking, what if this new update releasing this summer is actually a combat update 2.0, or maybe an exploration update part 2. We've got the mace that just dropped, literally, and the trial chambers has been confirmed since the Minecraft live event, and that is basically a dungeon, just even more extreme. Not only does it test your combat abilities, but you also get good loot. New enemies have been added into this update, including the bog and the breeze. Wolves have armor, finally, not to mention they've got 8 new variants of coat colors. Hardcore mode, which I started a new world recently, has been confirmed to be added into Bedrock Edition. Currently, they're making some tests and changes so that it can actually be fair for Bedrock users, but they're working on it. But what is the point of all these features? Is it actually going to be a combat update, or is it just a bunch of features that they found were exciting and fun? I'm so glad Minecraft is getting these amazing features, but I do want to say that they have not had a title yet for this update. What's it going to be? Again, combat update, exploration update, the random update? I don't even know. My speculations are pretty valid, I'd say, but let's look at the actual core of real facts and evidence. Players have wanted a new combat system, new weapons, new bosses to fight, new mobs to fight in general, and Mojang is pointing in the right direction with this update. They even hinted towards a secret and rare challenge.
But don't expect it to always be that easy. Let's just say it's going to be quite an interesting rare challenge.
Rare, you say?
Very rare.
It's good to know.
This is completely my imagination, but what if that encounter, that rare encounter, was actually with a mini boss? And remember, the warden was not seen as a boss, but something to avoid. So a new boss is definitely much needed. Since 2020 and probably earlier, Jens has been working on a new combat system that changes output damage, attack speed, the knockback speed, and even new enchantments. Understand that this has been at least 4 years that Mojang has been working on new combat mechanics. And with the mace now introduced, that is yet another way to fight in PvE or even PvP. The axe we all know and love is the most overpowering weapon in the game, and that's just because of its output damage. You hit a critical and you're doing even more. Mojang did nerf the damage, but this was only during a test, only an experiment, and it's not actually been released to the vanilla game yet. Currently, there are 5 weapons in Minecraft, and that is the sword, the trident, the axe, the bow, and the crossbow. Now, of course, there are beds to defeat the Ender Dragon with and fishing rods for PvP, but I'm talking about the core weapons that Mojang designed specifically. And now there are 6 weapons in Minecraft thanks to the mace. When I watched the mace video, the Mojang team sounded like they were giving the players opportunity with the mace instead of making it a new overpowering weapon.
The mace is a heavy weapon, so it's not intended as a replacement for a sword or an axe.
Meaning the mace has new mechanics, but it is not defined as more powerful than, say, the axe. Even the sword and the axe are not defined as better than the other. The sword is quicker in attack speed but does lighter damage. The axe takes longer to draw its weapon up for full power, meaning it's slower, but it does more damage than the sword. The axe also only attacks one mob, meanwhile the sword can have a sweeping edge to attack multiple enemies at once. And this is the same with the mace, but you can't necessarily do this the same way. Instead, you need the height advantage in order to maximize the damage for the mace. Now, the mace does do 7 damage by default, not including the height damage multiplier, which I think is pretty powerful, so I think they definitely will nerf it down to 6 or 5 damage. But again, even though the damage is so good, you need to hit your targets on time, because if you don't, you're going to end up taking damage and not hitting your opponent. The mace has requirements that the sword and axe don't have. If you want to maximize your damage, you're going to need that height elevation, and I know I've said that before, but this is a huge requirement. Either you're going to need to find a cliff and constantly go up and down from it, or you're going to need to get wind charges. Now, wind charges are not very easy to come by. You're going to need to defeat breeze to get breeze rods and then convert that into wind charges. This is so much different than an axe, sword, or even trident, where all you need to do is craft or find the item and then you get to use it. Then of course, if you want to maximize its damage, you can add enchantments or do a critical hit. But with the mace, you're not going to do as much damage from just jumping and hitting them versus using the wind charge or jumping off a cliff. So overall, Mojang wants the combat system to be versatile, different ways to do things, different ways to attack, and different weapons in general, with each weapon having a unique gameplay mechanic. So far, the same goal hasn't made it into armor just yet. Netherite by default is the best armor in the game. Now we do have a use for gold armor still, and that is to keep piglins from jumping you, and diamond armor is required to create that netherite. Iron armor and chainmail armor honestly right now are just useless. Leather boots can be used for powdered snow so that you don't sink into the snow, but I feel like chainmail is something that is well deserved to have a use. It's something that you find in chests in dungeons and such, and 9 times out of 10 you never use it. Now, moving on from armor, scythes have been something that people have been talking about for a while now. I think a cool idea would be to take the scythes and give them extra range, similar to a trident, but also widening the sweeping edge to be able to hit even more mobs than just the sword. Perhaps it does less damage than the sword, but it gets a one-of-a-kind enchantment called the Leech enchantment. With this enchantment applied to your scythe, you'd be able to heal yourself after defeating enemies. This is definitely an underrated idea, I believe, but what do you think in the comments? But anyway, each tool, weapon, and armor piece should be given its own valuable use so that everything has its own place in combat. They've actually started doing this for a while. Like I said, the gold giving a use for the piglins, but also wool and snowballs for the deep dark when a warden is around, allowing you to walk quietly or distract it with your snowball. Mojang is really taking their time to create every block, every item, every mob, and giving them value, not just in combat, but since this is a combat focused update, I think they're really moving towards that position. Alright, what about lost mobs? These are mobs that lost a mob boat, whether legitimately or somebody rigging it. Either way, Mojang has said that the lost mobs have a chance to coming back. So I think of mobs like the Isolager, or the Monster of the Depth, or even the Hovering Inferno. They would all be perfect for this update, especially since they're all hostile mobs. Fun fact, they put the Hovering Inferno in Minecraft dungeons for a short period of time. Now imagine they put that guy inside the Nether in vanilla Minecraft. I think it would be a nice new mini boss in the Nether Fortress. And maybe they even make a Nether castle for this guy so that he could actually have designated place instead of just seeing him randomly floating around in the Nether. Now this may sound like a crazy idea, but stick with me for a bit. Imagine this guy, you defeat the wildfire, which is what they called it in Minecraft dungeons. He may have a slight chance of dropping one of his shields. When you equipped it, enemies can attack the shield and then they take fire aspect damage. Maybe it has less durability than the shield. Or perhaps when you equipped it, you take fire aspect damage as well, so you need to put an enchantment on there that's like fire absorption or something. Or heck, maybe you have to drink one of those fire resistant potions just to hold the thing. Now this is probably not gonna happen, but it would be a cool idea to add more shields into the game. So what the heck is this update? Combat Exploration 2.0? Wolf Army update? No, my friends. This is the better update. On the real note though, I definitely think that the combat update is part of it, but also exploration. Especially since we have the new chambers to explore and so many new wolf variants that we can find in different biomes. I think they're really trying to focus, yes, of course, on combat, but I think more so on the exploration part, giving us this brand new ancient dungeon to explore, aka the chamber, and perhaps, who knows, maybe they'll add some new broken down ruins similar to the archaeology update, and maybe even monuments to make exploration on the surface more enjoyable. I know there's mods that do these things, but vanilla Minecraft, it needs it. There's also new biomes that need work, needing new mobs, they need new plant life, new items to find, and new structures. But I'm curious on what you think this update's going to be about. What else do you think Mojang will add? Share your ideas in the comments, leave a like, and subscribe for more Minecraft content like this.